Welcome back to the railway, and we've got today, well, let's have a look at some little buses I've recently got. They're all basically green lines or London Country. 724, which still runs. It's a green line. 712, which is not an existing route. 366, I'm not sure about. I don't think that runs anymore from Luton to Welling. And a 726, which used to be a summer only service from Romford to Whipsnade Zoo. So anyway, well, let's have a look at the. I'm just going to run the castle again, because we've got the newly acquired chocolate and cream British Railways Mark 1s to go with that locomotive, and this is the new boy I want to show you. It's the Lima J50, which Hornby have recently released as a very good loco. Apparently I haven't got one, so I thought I'd get this Lima one, which appeared in very good condition, and indeed when I got it, it was well, it's perfect really, just like I bought it yesterday, but from new. And he's got some Mark 1s, a couple of Lima carriages, and the one on the end is a replica or mainline, can't remember, break second. I did have two other coaches on this train, but I don't have a Lima blue and grey break second, so it's awkward to fit 4 coaches in. So let's get the castle on the move. Cardiff Castle. Again, it's a wonderful model, this one, and it runs really smoothly. It's got the original Hornby Dublo designed ring-filled motor, and you'll see, I mean, it starts really nicely. With hardly a sound from the motor as well, and this is probably one of my favourite models. It's got it's almost entirely, I can't think of anything plastic on it, because the tender body is die cast as well. So yeah, the only plastic on there would be the axle insulators on the wheels, I suppose. So there we go, we've got that one going. And during my recent trip to the Norfolk Railway, I had a trip on one of these things. Now I'm not sure whether it's a class 101 they call it now, but I mean, then in the 60s it was just known as a diesel rail car with no specific kind of a designation, I don't think. But there's the trying one, and that's quite a good runner. The only noise you get from this, really, I mean, it's a quiet motor, but you do get the because it's got the kind of serrated wheels, and they make a sort of a what they call the diesel noise over the track. So let's get that one going and listen to his little noise. There he goes. I should probably put an extra feed into this end of the layout, because despite the fact that it's quite a small layout, as you can see from this overall view. There's a distinct, I did measure with me meter, there's a voltage drop this end, amounting to almost 1 volt, which is quite a lot really. So it makes quite a big difference. So I might try and fix that. But it's big. I think it's mainly the Super 4 points, which I have tried to, clean the connections underneath between the rails, where you've got that isolated section as a connection. It's probably not as good as it was when they were new. So that's probably the main culprit, along with the fact that these are quite corroded. A lot of these old Super 4 rails, they're not perfect. Anyway, here's the Cardiff Castle on his way, and apart from the fact that the motor sticks out the back of the cab, I think I'm happy with the detailing on this. There's nothing wrong with that as far as I'm concerned. Maybe I'm easily pleased, but I think I'd rather have that for, I think I paid about £79 for that. I'd rather have that than a plastic one, to be honest, I think. Excellent machine. Comes the Railcar, and that's not a bad model. The seating in the power car, if we can see it there, I think that's beige colour, and then in the non-powered car it's grey. And they did come in separate boxes, so don't know whether they might have been from separate years or whatever, but yeah. And in the yard we've got that lovely single-ended diesel, and they look quite massive in appearance, don't they? Even though they are actually to HO scale, which is 3.5mm to the foot, and the 00 ones to 4mm to the foot. Shows you how big the American prototypes are in comparison to the British ones. So let's we'll slow this rail car down. Front there, and you can hardly hear the motor in this Cardiff Castle at all. Very quiet, just the noise of the wheels on the track basically. So we'll just slow him down and stop him in the station. And we'll change the points, and we'll get the Lima J50, which, although it's fairly basic, I think all the dimensions on it look spot on really. It's quite a good model of the prototype. It is a slightly higher geared motor than the ones in the Lima diesels. So when I haven't run this today, but when I start it off, it will be a noticeable start rather than it won't start off at a crawl. There it goes. That's not bad. And you'll notice it's not quite as noisy as the Lima diesels, but then it hasn't got as many gears. it's a simpler thing. And that white thing in the cab there is the what do they call them? A resistor or something like that to prevent the sparking between the brushes and the commutator, and also to limit television interference, which I think is not a problem these days anyway. So that could come out, I suppose. But yeah, it's a nice mod. I've always quite liked the look of these, and Lima have done a good job on it really, and they've got the wheels spaced correctly. You know, let's have a look at it down the front here. Yeah, I mean, there's nowhere near the noise on that there is on the diesels, and that, I think that's purely because of there's less gears on it. So let's have a quick look. The numbers on the front are a bit yellow. That's not quite right, but you know, all the details are there. The little steps on the end of the tanks there. All the details are there. They're all moulded on, of course, so, and they've picked out the handrails with a bit of silver paint. The builder's plate is well, it's there. It's just coloured in. I don't think you can read it. I don't think there's anything on there actually to read. Then you've got a bit of detail on the top of the tanks. According to photographs, the chimney's a fairly good profile of the prototype, and so is the steam dome. And that's not a bad representation of the cycling lion there. And as you can see, the two front axles are quite close together, and then there's a gap between axle 2 and axle 3. So they've done a good job on that. And there's steps, open steps on the front, closed steps leading up to the cab. And there's your electronic thing there by the side of the motor, which is in the cab, because it's the same style of motor that they have in their diesels, the sort of pancake motor. Yeah, it's a fairly basic model, but I quite like this actually. I mean, it's about the same sort of quality as the Hornby Ginty, I suppose. Same sort of detail on it. It only picks up on these two wheels here, which are quite close together. That's quite amazing. It manages to go over the points as well as it does, and then the middle axle is actually sprung as well. Don't know whether that helps, and it's also flanged, which is a good thing. So I'm quite pleased with that. That's nice. I mean, I used to have one of these many moons ago, and I quite liked it then, and I still like it now, to be honest. So now I probably won't bother getting the Hornby one. So because I'm quite happy with that. So yeah, and there's the grey seats in the non-powered car there of the diesel rail car. And if I move the other one along, hold on, just move him round. We'll see that in the power car, they're beige, sort of light beige colour, which is what I rather strange really, but there you go. That might happen in real life, you know. Different colour seats. They did change the colour of their seats, but they were never grey and they were never beige. I mean, they're always kind of a red and blue combination with a touch of yellow, as far as I remember, all these old seats. But I think the manufacturers like Hornby wanted to show off the seats, so if they were too dark you wouldn't see them. Maybe, I don't know. So yeah, so here she comes. Brass safety valves on the front there. The whistle is moulded in the front of the cab there, which you can hardly see. I might pick that out in a bit of silver or gold colour. And yeah, I think next time we'll have I've got a couple of Hornby early 2000s 060 tank engines that are sort of shunting engines really, because they're quite low geared, so we'll have a look at them. I got them for a really bargain price, so we'll have a look at them next time. And yeah, there she goes. So this weekend everyone's been, I suppose, well, not everybody has been watching the coronation of Charles, who is now Charles is it the third? Charles the Third, isn't he? Some people don't believe we should have a monarchy, and I don't know. Don't know whether we should or we shouldn't. Morally, I suppose we shouldn't, but it's a tradition that's been kept up, and it saves us having a, well, the good thing about it is it saves us having a silly president, doesn't it really? So, there you go. And, it's quite a pleasing little model, that one, I think. There we are. I'll see you all next time then. Okay, bye for now.